Disney's Snow White is setting a new live-action remake record that may never be broken. Disney's live-action remake of Snow White is about to set a record that might never be broken by any other movie. Based on the classic animated film, 2025's Snow White will reimagine the tale of the titular princess, played by Rachel Zegler, as she tries to escape the wrath of the evil queen, played by Gal Gadot. While Snow White is one of Disney's several live-action remakes based on their animated movies, this new version of Snow White stands out from the rest due to a curious record. Since Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is arguably Disney's most iconic animated movie, it's a surprise that it took so long for the studio to do a live-action version of it. However, the long wait for this Snow White remake has allowed it to set a record that likely won't get surpassed by another Disney film anytime soon. Snow White will hold the record for the longest gap between the original animated movie and live-action remakes releases. Disney's 2025 remake of Snow White comes over 87 years after the studio's original animated film. This marks the biggest gap between the release of an animated film and a live-action remake in cinema history. It's easy to see how the live-action remake of Snow White was able to beat this record, as the original 1937 film was the first ever feature-length animated movie produced by Disney. The Snow White remake broke the previous record set by the 2022 remake of Pinocchio, directed by Robert Zemeckis and starring Tom Hanks. The latter film was released 82 years after Disney released their first animated Pinocchio film in 1940. Coincidentally, the original Pinocchio was the second animated feature ever produced by Disney. Disney's other remaining early animated movies are unlikely to break Snow White's record. Following the release of 2025's Snow White, it doesn't seem like a lot of the animated films from Disney's early years will get live-action remakes in the near future. Many of them aren't as popular as the Disney films that have already been remade for live-action, meaning any possible record-breaking remakes likely won't be seen as worthy investments by Disney executives. The only exception to this seems to be the 1942 classic Bambi. It was reported in 2020 via The Hollywood Reporter that a photorealistic remake of Bambi was being developed by Disney. However, it's been 5 years, and we still haven't heard much else about it. Even if the film is made, it would have to be released more than 5 years from now to break Snow White's record. At this point, it is more likely that the Bambi remake will come before 2030 if it happens. In the end, Snow White seems to have set a record that no live-action remake from Disney will ever break. Not many characters from Disney's early films are as popular as Snow White. Additionally, the fact that Disney has already remade so many of their animated classics and is already looking at newer films like Mona for live-action adaptations makes the chances of something beating 2025's Snow White even slimmer.